Good evening, everybody. This is episode 18. I think we're up to 18 of our Let's Play in Space Engineers version 1.190. I've been taking a couple of trips off camera with the cargo shuttle to move some of this ice off of the Mine Construction Rover. You'll remember in the last episode we put a little connector on the side here so we could connect the cargo shuttle up and do all that. Our hydrogen tank and battery over at the base are now completely full. We've got a little cushion of ice, and I set up enough range on the antennas both here on the rover and back at the base on the probe, because that's where the antenna is. Back at the base is actually attached to the probe, but it's enough that we can get remote access to the. That was the wrong one. We can get remote access to the base from the rover. But if you look at our inventory here, still doing a little bit of ice refining because I think they're actually using some power. But we've got a nice little cushion here. Are we using some power? Yeah, it's kind of flickering on and off. Just a little bit. It's kind of a... Why are we using so much power? Honestly, not too sure why we're using a whole lot of power over there, but it doesn't really matter. We're not using enough for it to matter. Anyway, whereas at the rover, we've got about 60%, a little bit more in our hydrogen tank. And we've recently finished recharging the shuttle battery. So that's fully charged. And the headline here is that we've actually started to run into the stone under here. So you can see we got about 3,000 before I turn the drills back off. We don't have a whole lot of room here in the inventory, but we still have some. And the main reason why this is not going anywhere is because the refinery is actually turned off at the moment. So the first thing we need to do is get that turned on. And that will pull in that stone and refine it. And the assembler is also turned off, but the assembler actually has the parts queued up already to do a flight seat, because that was initially a priority, was to get a flight seat on here. But between the passenger seat and now that we can connect the cargo shuttle, I think this is actually not a priority anymore. So I'm not going to focus on that. Instead, what I want to get done sooner rather than later is actually, well, first of all, we need more cargo capacity. We also need more ice refining capacity because we need to shoot through that ice, so that, because I mean that's what's taking up most of our cargo at this point is ice, and if we can process that faster and have some place for it to go, then that would definitely get us moving a little bit faster. So another cargo container, another hydrogen tank, and another O2H2 generator. That's going to be what we're focused on this episode, and hopefully we'll get through all of it. I think I'm actually going to do the cargo container first, because if we can get the cargo container done, then we can turn those drills on for a while. So we need 300 interior plates. That's a lot of interior plates to get out of the very little bit of stone that we've collected so far, but we'll see what we can do. So 300 interior plates, 60 construction components. The metal grids we have, small steel tubes we need 60, motors 20, displays 1, computers 8, and I'm not going to remember all that, but we'll get started. So 300 interior plates, 60 construction components, 60 small steel tubes, 20 motors, one display, 8 computers in the metal grids we have. So that's 7 components altogether. And the 7 components we need. Alright, cool. So we'll go ahead and turn on the assembler and get to work on that. See how we actually do for parts and if we actually have enough to do that. My guess is we do not. Yeah, we do not. That's a definite no. So we'll go ahead and turn the drills back on. We're still going to be picking up some ice. We'll also be getting some stone. And hopefully we'll be able to do this in such a way that we can... Nope, we're already out of cargo room. Alright. Well, we got everything queued up anyway. But our cargo capacity is definitely full. And it's full of ice already. Well, we can at least place the cargo container so we know where it's going to go. Oh, we're not actually connected to an inventory here. So this is going to connect right here on the side of the basic refinery we already have in place. We can go ahead and dump the interior plates that we have in. I know we are also going to need at least one steel plate, so I'm going to jump that to the head of the line. We actually need 2 steel plates because that's going to be for the O2H2 generator. So we can go ahead and pull those out and get those in place. First the tank. And then on the other side of it, the generator. And yeah, I want to face this direction. Now the conveyor there won't work even if we did complete that until these 2 items are completed anyway. So we do have to complete all 3 of these before this will actually switch on. I think. But we definitely need this storage capacity anyway, so that's going to be important. Let's see how our production's doing here. We finished the interior plates and some of the other bits, so we'll go ahead and put all that stuff in. And we also need to... We don't need to be flying around here. We also need some of our metal grids that we've got stored in here. Lag. Wrong button. There's those. Alright, how are we looking? Basic assembler's got some stuff in it. Basic refinery's got some stuff in it, but we have no iron. Large cargo container is still pretty much full. And even if we move these metal grids out into the assembler, we're still pretty much full. And we are still picking up ice when we run the drills, so running the drills wouldn't really be all that good for us at this point. I think we'll go ahead and take another run because we've got a ton of cargo space still over at the base. So I had loaded this up, but it looks like it took a lot of the ice out of here before it took the ice from other places when it did a cargo shuffle. So we'll show the inventories on the current ship, and we'll show storage inventories over here. Scroll down to the large cargo container. Now we got a little bit extra cargo space in the connector that now that we've attached that, so that's nice, but it's full, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Alright, so we're still pretty full, but we can take this over anyway. Flip off of recharge mode, engines on, gyro on, connector off. And then connector back on. You can see we're definitely a little bit more sluggish when we're fully loaded like this in terms of control responsiveness. Still turns pretty well, but accelerates definitely a lot slower. And slows down a lot slower, and uses pretty much all of our power when we try to tilt back and slow down like that. So we definitely overshot. That's alright. As long as the inertial dampeners aren't trying to counteract a lot of lateral motion, we can handle dropping down and the acceleration involved in that. But if you're moving full speed and trying to slow down and trying to drop down and keep everything under control, we'll definitely hit full power usage. And that's a function of the batteries. The fact that we only have one on here. And it is, again, also just when we have full cargo that we weigh enough for that to be a problem. And it isn't quite a problem. It just takes a little bit longer for us to change our speed. I did end up needing to turn the connector force down, so it's a little bit more gentler when it comes into contact, because we did actually break the connector over on the rover at one point, so I needed to bring some extra computers over to get that fixed up. And when I'm over at the base, I actually put the battery into discharge mode so that we can use the power on the shuttle rather than pulling power off the base, because we want to pull power off the rover, not so much the base. So then we will go to show ship inventories, and show storage inventories, and put everything over into the large cargo container. You can see we still have tons of room here. That's less than 10% full. Alright, so we're in discharge mode, that's fine. The power stuff will work when we disconnect. But it is more flexible to be in auto mode, because we don't really want to be in discharge mode when we get back over to the base, because it's just going to start draining the battery to run the base, or run the rover, rather. It's over here. I know where the connector is. I just placed it. Line up the front and then turn around. It's usually pretty well lined up. Turn the connector back on. Might be nice to put a camera on here. A camera is a little bit easier to line up with even than third person is. still getting a little bit rough. And lock and engines and gyro, and then recharge. How are we doing over here? Connector's still full. Large cargo container maybe has enough space we can do a little bit of drilling, especially if we're going to be getting stone for sure. We don't have much room here though. Yep, already full. And it filled up the ship for us. Got a decent amount of materials for running the drill for 2 seconds, 5 seconds. Now, I won't be able to retrieve those components sitting in the cockpit because those are small conveyor connections and they can't fit components through them. Character inventory. Nice. Alright, so this will enable us to finish up the cargo container, and then we'll have almost doubled our cargo space. So we'll be able to turn the drills back on. Before I actually do that though, because I'm gonna have to actually, go in and out and think about it for a second, I'm gonna queue up the parts we need for this. So we need 109 steel plates. Five construction components, 2 large steel tubes. Yeah, we're out of iron. 4 motors, 5 computers. Alright. Now though, in addition to large cargo container 1, we have large cargo container 2. So we should be able to run the drills for a little bit to fill that up. Still getting a decent amount of ice in here. I will be satisfied when we drill through the ice and are only picking up stone. Stone refines in one basic refinery a lot faster than ice does in 102H2 generator. But you can see we got a little bit of time before we're actually going to fill that up, so we can afford to pick up some ice as long as we're getting the stone too. Because this is going to be a lot of stone. We're going to be able to do a lot of work with this. There we go, looks like we've hit that point. We've gotten through the ice, now we're just picking up pure stone. Beautiful. And eventually we're going to hit a silver deposit down here. Hopefully we'll get enough stone before that we can finish up the rover. But the whole point of this is that we will be taking the silver itself back on the cargo shuttle to the main base and refining that in the main refinery. We do not have a full refinery here, and a basic refinery can't handle silver. So that's all expected behavior. That's out of spec for our Mine Construction Rover. The idea is that we'll drill down to the deposits, and then we will actually build a mining outpost, possibly with a full refinery on top of it, to drill out the rest of the silver deposit. And the Mine Construction Rover will provide us with enough resources to get all that built. Alright, we're getting full, but we got almost 1 million stone here. Alright, go ahead and turn the drills off and let all this work for a little while. In the meantime, our basic assembler has put together the parts we need for our next O2H2 generator. And we will see if the conveyor can pull through an incomplete hydrogen tank. And it looks like it cannot. That was expected. I didn't really think it could. So we will build this next. We need 159 steel plates. $80 large steel tubes, 60 small steel tubes. And I think that was 8 computers. Yep, and that stuff on the top's extra. And we should have plenty of resources now. We still have 3,000 stone just in our first cargo container with all the ice. We still have 154 ice in the other cargo container. 154,000, sorry, excuse me. We'll go ahead and see if we can fit this all in one. Yeah, we can't fit all the ice in one, but we can fit all the stone in the second one. And that's definitely going to go significantly faster. And once this is done, and we can pull the ice through into the second O2H2 generator, our power consumption will go up, but it will be processing the ice twice as fast. And you can see we're up to 6,000, 6,500 iron. There we go. Now we're definitely up and running. Goes here. And it pulled our metal grids into a cargo container. That's fine. Kill time while I'm waiting, I'll go ahead and start welding this. we go. So now that's done. And the O2H2 generators should both be functioning. Yep. And one of them needs a number. But if we search for ice now, see, we've got 2 running. I'm going to throw these into here and make this our ice container. Still can't quite fit all the ice that we have. And it looks like it's going to choose to go through this one first. That's fine. That's actually what I would prefer. But there we go. So this is going to be much faster now. We can attach another refinery over here, but we honestly don't really need it. Certainly not urgently. We'll also eventually do another cargo container. That's honestly the main reason why I would want to do the refinery, is so we can connect to another cargo container, because the other cargo container will again allow us to increase our cargo capacity and keep the drills running a little bit longer, and actually pull up some more of that stone and get down to the silver that we're looking for. And we will eventually put another hydrogen tank over here as well. And then we'll put some more hydrogen engines along the front here, just so that we do have a excess cargo capacity. I mean, for the most part, when even the drills, the refineries, and the O2H2 generators are running, the one hydrogen engine will still provide enough power to manage all that. See, we're only at 1 and a bit megawatts now, and we're only going to add 1 more refinery and maybe another assembler or 2, so we can definitely handle all this on 1 hydrogen engine. But it will be nice to have additional hydrogen engines so that we can charge batteries or whatever, should the need arise. But in the meantime, I think that's going to be all for today. We will continue in the next episode with expanding our cargo capacity and doing some more drilling, and maybe we'll see if we get down to that silver. Because once we get down to the silver, we'll take some of it back to the base, or at least a healthy portion of it back to the base, refine it into some silver ingots, build up some medical components, and then we'll be able to construct another survival kit. And once I've got another survival kit, that's the point where I will feel comfortable building a space vessel. So we'll get that put together, and we'll build ourselves a small spaceship, and it'll basically be a colony ship. Since we started off with a respawn pod that had nothing but a survival kit on it, and then once we get a survival kit on another ship, in addition to the one that we've got here at the base, we'll be able to venture out into the stars. Once we get into space, our first goal will be to find some more ice so that we can refuel our ship, because we'll have an O2H2 generator on it so that we can refuel in space. Also have a hydrogen engine or 2 so that we can recharge the batteries. And once we get ice, from there we will be looking for platinum and uranium, and then we will have access to everything that we could possibly ever need. And that is a very close unknown signal. I haven't been bothering messing with these just because they've been, even some distance away, and the loot from it is nice, especially if you're short on resources, but it's not critical. But since this one is so close, I mean, it's right off the side of the rover, I'll go ahead and grab this one just so that you can see what they're about. Although if you're playing the game, I'm sure you've seen them. Got a little button panel here. Get a special item. A leopard suit. Ooh, fantastic. You actually do need a medical room to change your spacesuit, though. And it's It can be seen in third person or in multiplayer, but honestly, I like my royal purple suit, so I don't usually bother changing it. Anyway, so we got that. There's a small cargo container here. It's got some nice interior plates for us to pick up. And then we can just grind the rest of it down. You want to grind lights off from the front. If you grind the block that they're attached to off from the back, then I think you lose the components that are part of the light. So if you're trying to preserve resources, drill the lights off from the front first. We don't get the power cells, we get scrap metal. But they're nice little haul of resources there. Some motors, some computers, construction components, all that good stuff. Go ahead and plop all this into our second large cargo container. That will stick there. The refinery will pull it in next. This gives us a nice start on the components that we need for our next cargo container. Anyway, I said I was ending the episode, then I got distracted by a unknown object. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to see what happens next. Likes and comments are appreciated. Verbal abuse is tolerated. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.